Howdy folks, I'm Gluttonous Gulf Flatillery, greedily guzzling grape Gatorade.
I'm Amber.
And here's more grape Gatorade for us to guzzle. I didn't even know there were grape Gatorades. Is there grape Gatorade? Maybe there is. I don't know.
It didn't bother to check. I just looked for a beverage that started with G and went with it.
Alright, well let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Giving Gifts to My Son's Half-Siblings When I Go to See My Son, Even If They Are Not My Kids? Well, I'm a 32-year-old male, and 8 years ago, from a short fling, I have a son. My son's mother was a single mother of 2 at the time, and has had 1 more kid since. My son is 7. It was a messy ordeal at first, and I was convinced that he wasn't my kid, but a DNA test, yada yada later, and it was proved that he was my kid. She didn't sue me for child support, and she didn't have the funds to do that, but I was not going to let my son grow up without money. So we have an agreement. I pay her about $3,000 to $4,000 a month. I work in sales and I get a bonus yearly, so I pay more during the holiday season, and I make the mid $100,000 range, so it's more than what the court would have ordered. But I want to be fair. She has said sometimes that she uses my money on the other kids, which is fine, whatever. All this is to say that I think that I'm pretty fair. Whenever I go and bring a meal to my kid or give him a console, a Switch 2 recently, I tell him to share it with his siblings and bring them a meal too so they can all eat together. I even give them all presents for their birthday so they don't feel left out when I only give presents to my kid. I'm not a holier-thou type of guy. I just want him to have a good relationship with his siblings. And if money and gifts allow that, then I'm okay with that. The last thing that I want is for his siblings to resent him for favoritism. Once his mom and I are gone, they will be his only family, which is why I treat them well, and even let my money be used for his other siblings. His sister has a father who tries his best. We'll call him Mark, a 36-year-old male. Recently, he reached out to me and said that when I brought gifts for my son, he said that he would prefer if my son didn't share them, and if I could stop giving gifts to his daughter. So apparently his daughter, 13, is now comparing him to me, and said that I'm giving her better gifts or whatever, and I see them more. She apparently said that she wishes that I was her dad. Well, I told Mark that I will see what I can do, but now I feel kind of bad. Mark is the only other father who is genuinely trying, from what I can tell. And maybe I set the standards too high. My son's mother made the mistake of telling his daughter that I also fund some of their lifestyle, since I pay the most in child support. While I feel bad about all of this, the girl seems really sweet, so I'm surprised that she would say something like that to her dad. She helps my son with his homework and is a good older sister to him, so I feel like I have been treating her as she treats my kid. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't know why my son's mother brought financial information to the kids, and I have no idea what to do about Mark. I don't want to change how I treat my son's siblings because I don't want him to have a bad relationship with them. My parents treated my younger brother better than me, and I have a not so great relationship with him now because of that, and I just don't want the same thing for my kid. So am I the jerk for going above and beyond just for the sake of my son being treated better by his siblings at the cost of Mark and his daughter's relationship? Edit, seeing some comments about making a trust fund and a college fund for my son. I just want to put this out there. I made a comment explaining this. He does have a trust and a 529 plan. His mother is not aware of these, but he does have these, and money is going here aside from the money that I give her. I was helped through college by my folks, and I plan on doing the same for him. Also, I own the apartment that I live in, and he'll be receiving it. He's also included in my parents' will as well, with a separate trust that they have given to him, in which I will be the guarantor until he's 25. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. Honestly, I think OP is doing something very nice and generous. And I don't think Mark has thought through the repercussions of this. Because if OP were to just stop paying for the other kids out of the blue, that is going to cause chaos, and kids are going to be able to put 2 and 2 together and realize that it was probably due to Mark's meddling, and that's going to completely blow up the relationship. So, I think it's important to, 1, talk to Mark's daughter, have a sit down with her, and explain that not everyone has the same financial means. The finances aren't our marker of love, or not the only marker of love, and that her dad is trying his best. And also have a sit down with Mark and explain to him that it's not going to go the way he thinks it will. And maybe there might be other things that are missing in the relationship beyond monetary things, because she does say that OP spends more time with them. So if Mark isn't showing up for her time-wise, like he may not be able to do anything about finances, but if he can show up for her more time-wise, that might go a long way.
Oh, I think so, absolutely. I think that Mark is coming from a place of, like, no one wants to be the parent who's like, oh, I wish this other person was my dad, right? Like, that's a really bad thing to hear from a kid, and it's going to be heartbreaking. And I can understand Mark being heartbroken about that. But, like Amber said, maybe the solution here is for them to spend more time with their kid and try to put more effort into it. Now, I think Mark is also being very short-sighted. Like you said, this isn't going to go the way Mark thinks it's going to go, because what's OP going to do? Only give the other kids, stuff and ignore her? Like, what's going to happen to her? How is she going to feel about that?
Right, is it going to crush her? And if he's expecting Obi to pull the funds from all the kids, like, that's also still going to, like, go really badly if OP just pulls the funds from everyone but his son all of a sudden.
Yeah, what is he going to tell the kids, right? Or what's the mom going to say? Because she's clearly very liberal with the things that she says. So when the daughter confronts the mom about this, what's the mom going to say? She's going to be like, oh, Mark told OP not to give you any more money. So all that's going to do is create a lot of resentment. It's going to create a lot of issues. I think that Mark is right to be a little upset by the situation, but he's taking it out on the wrong person. The real person to kind of blame here is the mother for sharing financial information and pitting the dads against each other here.
Yeah,
right?
Well, she acted inappropriately by sharing that information. It's best to keep kids in the dark about finances as much as possible. Like, there is no reason for the kids to need to know who is paying child support money or who is paying the most child support money. That is not relevant.
Yeah, it really isn't. And I think that is an unfortunate situation. I think that OP is doing a really good thing, and it just kind of goes to show that no good deed goes unpunished.
Well, and but also, a 13 is a rough age, and the 13-year-old is probably just going through a lot of things anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And finding people to lash out at.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't be surprised if this all blows over eventually anyway. And again, Mark may just need to find ways to make sure he really is stepping up for her.
Yeah. Anyway, I think in the interim, OP can sit down with Mark. They can work out how to go forward on this, and OP can explain why they're doing this. I think if OP actually tells Mark the same stuff that they say here, Mark's going to be like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Potentially. I mean, I would think Mark might already know.
He might, but I mean, I don't want to have the siblings have a bad relationship or anything like that. I don't want it to be favoritism and stuff like that, right? I think also sitting down with the daughter and saying, look, your dad's really trying. Money doesn't buy love. I'm giving you guys money because I think that it's the right thing to do. And I really want you all to have the best possible, childhood that you can, right? And having that kind of conversation with her and treating her like that with a lot of respect, I think is going to go a long way towards maybe helping to remedy this situation. She just may be mad at Mark for one reason or another. It may have nothing to do with the gifts or anything like that. Maybe he said something cruel to her for all we know, right? And this is, Mark now lashing out at her, trying to, get her to, stop having these gifts and stuff like that. I don't know the answer, right? But, then the final thing I think is that OP probably should sit down with the mom and explain to her that it isn't appropriate for her to share financial details with the kids and kind of shut that down, hopefully. I don't know. So a lot of talking, I think. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk? My boyfriend pays child support for a cat and a dog that he owned with his ex-wife. Am I the jerk? My boyfriend and I want to buy a home together. We've been together for about 18 months, and he had an ex-wife for 10 years who amicably parted and are still friends with, which I have no issue with. They shared a friend group, and they share another partner, etc., but she still is making my boyfriend pay $200 a month to help pay for pets that they got when they were together, of which are both under her name now, and who my boyfriend never actually gets to see due to how far they live, and her boyfriend not wanting him in the house. I try to bring this up, that we could be using that money for our own now pets or to go towards our home, but he gets super defensive and says that he has no choice. And this really upset me greatly. Am I the jerk here? Should he have to really help pay because she chooses to put the dog in doggy daycare and have pet insurance plus help pay for food for both when they are legally hers? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, I think OP's in the wrong here. I mean, these pets used to be his pets and he still wants to take care of them. It's like, you know, some people will not be able to see their kids and still pay child support. Like, and the OP thinks that the pets don't deserve, like, food is concerning. Like, I understand doggy daycare may sound like a luxury, but it may be the only option if, like, both her and her new partner work. But, like, to be like, well, does he really need to pay for food for them? Like, animals have got to eat. You know, this was an arrangement he had before OP was in the picture. Nothing about their finances has changed. It doesn't sound like this is bankrupting them. It just sounds like OP's financial goals aren't working out as fast as she wants them to. But again, she has to recognize that these are pets that he presumably still loves. Even if he's not seeing them, it doesn't stop his love for them or his concern for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a regrettable situation in some respects. I think that OP has a right to be concerned and want to talk about finances, right? And especially if they are planning on merging finances together, that's an appropriate conversation to have. I mean, they've been dating for 18 months now. Financial conversations are going to come up. As for whether or not it's right for him to pay child support for the pets, like if it's his money, then he can do what he wants with his money, right? If this is a deal breaker for her, then it's a deal breaker for her, right? Like she can say, well, you know, this is kind of a deal breaker for me. I feel like this shows that you are not dedicated enough to our relationship. She's allowed to have those feelings. She's allowed to break off the relationship for any reason she wants. Now, I think that some of this situation really depends on their finances, right? If $200 a month is breaking them and is a really hard thing for them to pay, then maybe $200 is too much, and maybe he can, you know, talk to his ex and say, I'm going to pay you $100 a month, right? And also it depends on her finances, the ex's finances, and maybe even the boyfriend. Is he contributing? Is he helping out in these situations, right? Like, it is a little unfair that OP doesn't get to see these pets ever, but still is expected to pay, so much money a year. You know, $2,400 a year is not a small amount of money, right? So I do understand OP's place here of being concerned, but I don't think it's her right to tell him how to spend his money.
Well, that's the thing. That doesn't sound like he's unhappy with the arrangement as it is. It sounds like he has accepted it as what is, you know, and it would be one thing if he was actively wanting to change this arrangement, then OP could back him up. But I don't think it's her place to be like, yeah, you need to stop paying for these pets. They're not your responsibility anymore.
Well, it depends. He says he has no choice, right? So, like, is this really something that he wants to do? Or is this like a coercive element? Or what's going on here? I'd like to get to the bottom of that.
I mean, that is kind of vague. My guess was that it was like he feels morally obligated to take care of them because they were his pets.
Yeah.
Which if that's the case, I think OP just needs to back off and let him keep paying for the pets. But if it is coercive, then like, I mean, he's an adult, he can make his own decisions, but that's a little bit thornier.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And PM Me Sexy Sandwich says, not the jerk, and do not buy a house with a boyfriend of 18 months. That's a way worse financial decision than him giving his ex $200 a month for pets that aren't his. And Pompous Tart says, so much this OP, not the jerk, but don't be one to yourself by buying a house with him at this time. I mean, it could be that they neither are interested in marriage, right? I don't know. Like 18 months is quite a while. Like usually the 2-year mark is when kind of the honeymoon phase of the relationships are over. So maybe hold off a little bit more before making your final judgment on and buy a house with them. But if you both can afford it and want to afford it, I think it really depends on a lot of factors.
Well, I think the biggest issue here is they have different priorities and different financial, like, they have different ideas of what is worth spending money on. And I think before you even think about, making such a big financial decision, you need to get on the same page and not bully him into dropping this payment.
Yeah. Also, are they even living together at the moment? Maybe if they aren't living together,
Do a test run.
Do a test run and make sure that you're actually compatible before buying a house. And Unlock Link says you're the jerk. If they agreed, then it's reasonable. You can't overrule it. But don't buy a house with someone that you've been with for 18 months, especially if you can't agree on this. You aren't ready to be so financially tied to each other. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Taking Money That I Won from a Slot Machine in an Open House? So posting this on the behalf of my dad, who doesn't have a Reddit account. My wife and I were wandering around our neighborhood when we saw a sign for an open house. The house was not staged, and the owner's furniture was there. There were pictures on the walls, and the closets were still filled with their clothes. They had simply cleaned up for the open house. In the office, I found a desktop slot machine like the one that you would see at a bar, and I put in one of my quarters. I didn't expect to win, but it paid out. I got $5 worth of quarters and I pocketed them. My wife was stunned that I even played the slot machine, let alone took the winnings. She said that this was clearly someone's house and you shouldn't use their stuff. In the same way, you shouldn't use the bathroom in an open house. I said that if they didn't want people playing with their machine, then they could have put it away or put a sign on it. If I had lost my quarter, they would have gained one. So it seemed completely fair to me. Am I the jerk for playing the slot machine at an open house and taking my winnings? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, you're the jerk. It's theft. Like, it's not a game when you're the only one who knows you're playing. These people just left it out, probably not even thinking about it, because who goes into an open house to play with the games in the house?
Yeah.
And it's theft, plain and simple. You are there to tour the house to see if it's somewhere you want to live, not to take the owner's possessions.
Yeah, I mean, this guy needs to go and apologize to the people and return the quarters, the exact quarters that they took from them. Because we don't know if this was a piggy bank, because it could have just been a fancy piggy bank where, they just like a slot machine piggy bank, right? It could have been somewhere where they kept like rare coins and stuff like that just for the fun of it, right? Like, oh, I'm going to take my rare coins or my rare quarters and use them, because sometimes people, have like silver quarters and stuff like that and keep them aside. It could have been any number of things that they were, using the slot machine for. And the fact that he's like, well, they needed to put a sign on it. No, it's an open house, not a come and ransack me.
Like the audacity, like again, like you're talking about a piggy bank. If there had been a piggy bank sitting on the counter, you would know, even if there's not a sign on it, you don't take the stopper out and take all the quarters.
I mean, it was just sitting there. I don't know why anyone would just leave money laying around.
It just is absurd that he would just be like, well, they should have had a sign on it. Like, when you go into a friend's house, you usually don't just take all their stuff.
Yeah. So I think that, again, like I said, they need to go and apologize to these people and return the quarters that they took from them. Because who knows if they'll miss them or not, right? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Centrifuge.
I mean, I think that's maybe a little extreme, just return the quarters. But I mean, I guess the wheel is really on a power trip.
No one steals from the wheel. No one plays games of chance with the wheel and wins. You go to the centrifuge. That's your jackpot. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What do you get if you cross a cryptid with a common garden vegetable?
You get a cucumber salad. I don't know. You get a cucumber-y Bigfoot. You get a cucumber wasp man. I don't know.
Sasquatch.
Oh, squash. That makes sense.
And it's National Sneak Some Zucchini Onto Your Neighbor's Porch Day.
Cool.
And International Cat Day.
So go take a zucchini, sneak it onto your neighbor's porch with the cats, and then have them jump and be scared because they think it's a snake sitting behind them. But don't do that, because that's cruel to do to cats.
Is that why the cats get afraid of cucumbers?
I think that's what people speculate. I don't know if that's the real reason or not. It startles them. Very startled. Speaking of startling, I have licorice spice. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Fantastic Friday. I can't believe it, folks. It's the end of the week. Can you believe it? Who knows? Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on money.
Don't steal money from open houses.
Yeah, don't steal money from open houses.
Even if it looks like a game, don't do it.
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.